Now it is my great pleasure to welcome our speaker today, Rob Lauren from Pathways of Light, and we're going to talk about A Course in Miracles. Rob Lauren is currently studying to become an ordained minister at Pathways of Light, a respected religious school inspired by A Course in Miracles to deepen his spiritual practice and knowledge. He has a strong commitment to inspiring others. Rob aims to help people embrace and follow their unique spiritual paths. Welcome. Come on up and join us.
First, I want to say thank you very much for inviting me to share this message with you. It's a pleasure and a privilege. I really appreciate your inviting me here. I have been studying A Course in Miracles, just a little background on myself, since 2011, and it has helped me enormously. In fact, I don't know where I would be without my spiritual practice, because my spiritual practice, this particular spiritual practice, has gotten me through many trials and tribulations in my life. And it all has to do with the forgiveness process. That is what has given me, that has gotten me where I am today. And I'll talk more about the forgiveness process later, and I'll share with you how that works. You can follow along. So I just want to mention each of you here, you're here through divine intervention, and your presence is no accident. You are exactly where you're meant to be at this moment, meaning we all have a script. A Course in Miracles believes in past lives, death life experiences, etc., etc. So, exploring A Course in Miracles, it was first established in 1976. A Course in Miracles, ACIM for short, is a widely studied spiritual text designed as a self-study course for personal and spiritual growth, divided into three main parts: the text, the workbook for students, and the manual for teachers. ACIM lays out a comprehensive journey of awakening. The structure of ACIM, the text, just one second here. I'm going to do this here. I don't know if everyone can see this, but this is what the book looks like. Okay, this is what the book looks like right here, A Course in Miracles, and it's divided into in some sections there. So, so in the text, this talks about the theory and philosophy. The text section comprises 31 chapters, introduces theoretical foundation and philosophy of A Course in Miracles. Topics covered, it delves into complex metaphysical themes such as perception, the nature of reality, the ego, and miracles as shifts in perception. The purpose of this text is to build a conceptual base for the reader to apply ACIM principles in later lessons. And the lessons are in the workbook for students. So there are 365 lessons with a year's worth of daily lessons. The workbook guides students through a structural process of spiritual transformation. The focus of the lessons is to emphasize the shifting from fear to love and encourage forgiveness, healing, and inner peace. Exercises. Students practice repeating affirmations, meditating, and examining thought patterns to foster deeper change. The manual for teachers, it's a teacher's guide to address, this section addresses those who feel called to teach or to share the principles. It also the support for teachers. It offers insights on how to embody and communicate ACIM teachings, assisting others on their spiritual journey. Okay, some background about the Course in Miracles. It was written by Helen Schucman back in the early 60s. She's a research psychologist at Columbia University. Initially identifying as an atheist, Schucman began to experience what she describes as an inner voice in 1965, which she later attributed to Jesus. In the text section titled "The Voice for God," teachings are linked to Jesus, as further implied in the workbook for students, particularly in Lesson 70. In other words, Jesus was the one that was dictating A Course in Miracles. Jesus is the one that actually wrote A Course in Miracles through her. The influence and prominent endorsements: Marianne Williamson, Gabrielle Bernstein, and Eckhart Tolle have been instrumental in bringing A Course in Miracles to a broader audience. Williamson's book, A Return to Love, which drew heavily on ACIM principles, became a bestseller and was endorsed by Oprah Winfrey. Additionally, Deepak Chopra's teachings align with ACIM's focus on consciousness and spiritual awakening. So, a growing community, and the next section, a growing community and spiritual reach. ACIM's appeal spans various spiritual and religious backgrounds, including Christianity, Judaism, Islam, Hinduism, and Buddhism. The text is widely accessible, in over 20 languages and is supported by numerous online study groups, podcasts, and forums where practitioners from all over the world connect to explore teachings. And I would like to propose that maybe this facility here, we could start a Course in Miracles study group. This is how it all happens. Anyway, the core themes in A Course in Miracles is forgiveness as a path to salvation. ACIM describes forgiveness as a means of freeing oneself from the illusion of grievances and separation created by the ego. It promotes the idea of viewing all transactions as illusions, offering a pathway back to the unity with the divine. The ego and the true self. The ego represents the belief in separation and individuality, thriving on fear and conflict. Conversely, the true self, also known as the Christ or Spirit, is eternally connected to God. ACIM teaches students to identify ego-driven thoughts and to align instead with the voice of love and unity. A perfect example of this is the election of Trump, okay? And how people feel that they're upset, they're angry, they're frustrated, etc., etc. The way to come to peace with that is to send love to Trump, to feel peace with yourself, is to send him love, and to send every adversary that you have love. That is the way of A Course in Miracles. And also to forgive any of those weird feelings, ill feelings. You have to realize we're all connected, we're all one. Okay, the next section we're going to talk about is the core themes in A Course in Miracles, the core concepts. Okay, the first one I want to deal with is the ego and the true self. The ego represents the belief in separation and individuality, thriving on fear and conflict. Conversely, the true self, also known as Christ or Spirit, is eternally connected to God. ACIM teaches students to identify ego-driven thoughts and to align instead with the voice of love and unity. The next concept is miracles as shifts in perception. Miracles in A Course in Miracles are defined as transformations in perception, encouraging a shift from fear to love. Through the forgiveness process, or through the practice of forgiveness, individuals can experience inner healing with A Course in Miracles regards as miraculous. In other words, when you do the forgiveness process and you make a shift, like you actually physically, mentally, emotionally make a shift where you're connected with that side of peace and serenity and love, that is the miracle. That is what the Course in Miracles is trying to say. So the next concept, reality as a spiritual construct. A Course in Miracles, or ACIM, teaches that the material world is an illusion created by the ego. It doesn't want you to be in touch with the peace, the serenity, the other part of your mind, because we are all in a split mind. We have both the ego and the spirit in our mind. The higher self is there as well. So when we make that shift from the ego into our right mind through the forgiveness process, that is part of A Course in Miracles. That's what they're trying to say there. So the main concept, or the biggest concept to me, is forgiveness as a path to salvation. A Course in Miracles describes forgiveness as a means of freeing oneself from the illusion of grievances and separation created by the ego. It promotes the idea of viewing all transgressions as illusions, offering a pathway back to the unity, or to unity with the divine, with your right mind, your higher self. Okay, the role of the helper, known as the helper or the Holy Spirit or your higher self, whatever you want to call that entity, this inner guide offers support in distinguishing ego-based thoughts from those aligned with divine love. Instead of focusing on mundane decisions, students are encouraged to ask broader questions such as, what would you have me do? Where would you have me go? What would you have me say? And then to listen for guidance. And that is another thing that I want to interject. It's not part of my notes, but you'll know when you are hearing the voice of your higher self, because the voice of your higher self will always come across to you with gentleness, with quietness, with serenity. It's like you'll be walking down the road or driving your car, and all of a sudden you'll get a thought, and that's your higher self. The ego, on the other hand, or could be your higher self, the ego, on the other hand, is always going to come across as fearful. You need to do this. You need to do that. You got to do this. All these fear-driven thoughts. You cannot make a correct decision in your life on how you want to proceed with your life if you are not at peace. So if you have a big decision coming up, get yourself into peace. Get yourself into a peaceful state. Ask your higher self to help you with this situation, and then just wait. This has helped me many, many times, doing that particular method. And of course, forgiving any kind of ill feelings or whatever crap is coming up. Okay, practical applications in A Course in Miracles. Mind training is one. The workbook emphasizes mental discipline, encouraging students to become aware of their thoughts and to shift them from judgment to forgiveness. Through this process, students develop the ability to perceive situations as reflections of their inner state, thus fostering personal transformation, the miracle. Criticisms and controversies. ACIM teachings have faced criticism from religious and psychological perspectives. Some Christians, theologians view its principles and heretical thoughts due to its non-traditional portrayal of Jesus and its assertion that the physical world is an illusion. Psychologically, critics argue that ACIM's emphasis on dismissing the material world could lead to avoidance of real-life situations. However, many students report deep transformations in emotional well-being, noting that the course's focus on love and forgiveness brings forth inner peace. Okay, impact and legacy. Since its publication, A Course in Miracles has become a foundational text in modern spirituality. Its influence on contemporary spiritual leaders such as Marianne Williamson, Eckhart Tolle, and its enduring themes of forgiveness, love, and inner peace have centered ACIM's role in the spiritual landscape. And in conclusion, A Course in Miracles offers a transformative perspective on reality, self, and relationships by challenging traditional views and promoting forgiveness and non-dualism. It invites readers into a profound journey toward inner peace and spiritual awakening. Despite some controversy, its popularity and influence reveal its lasting appeal and capacity to inspire personal growth and love. That's the end of the lecture. And now what I'd like us to do is to close your eyes. I want to teach you the forgiveness process. I want to teach you how to do this. This is a game changer. If you practice it consistently. Okay, so what I want you to do, the first thing I want you to do is I want you to think of a very upsetting event, the election of Trump, or you got into an argument with your roommate, your neighbor, spouse, whatever, ill feelings, any kind of negativity, any kind of emotion that comes up like that. Just think of it, think of what it is. Then the next step that I want you to do, this is a very simple process. It's very 1, 2, 3. The next thing I want you to do, the first step, is to forgive that particular person. Say in your mind, I forgive this person. I forgive the situation, whoever they are, whatever it is, I forgive that situation. The second step that I would like you to do is to forgive yourself for being in that situation or for having those thoughts. And then the third and final part of the forgiveness process is the absolute most important part. And that part is you say to yourself, and I need help forgiving this particular situation or person, and I need help releasing that over to my higher self, the Holy Spirit, your helper, whatever you want to call it. If you don't do the third step, you haven't done anything, because it's the third step that helps to give you, to cleanse you of this particular situation or person, event, or whatever it is. You need to release that to your higher self, for your higher self to give you a different perception, a different aspect of that particular situation. And out of this process, if you haven't come to a sense of serenity or peace, you need to keep doing it over and over and over again until you get to that particular situation, until you get to a sense of serenity, of peace. You just have to turn everything over to your higher self. So another way of doing it, let's say you're out there in the world and things are going crazy and you're feeling crazy and there's just too much going on. Just all you have to do is just say, I need help, I need help, I need help, I need help, I need help. It's basically kind of the same thing when you're in a big rush and you just can't stop and do the forgiveness process. Take that opportunity to say to your higher self, I need help, I need help. I need to look at this a different way. And again, just keep doing the process over and over and over again until you get to that point of peace in your life. And it works. It just works. I'll give you an example. I was living in a marina on a boat, and there was a female neighbor. She was living on another boat, and she was an alcoholic. She was a drunk. She was a mess. But she would always kind of like, these people, they just kind of take a knife and kind of twist it in your back. She would always like, push my buttons or whatever. So what I did was I went back to my boat, and for 15 minutes straight, I just kept forgiving that person. And lo and behold, I never saw that person again. If you want, which means like the people in your life are there in your life because you want them there. There's a lesson for you to learn. A Course in Miracles is very much into relationships. We need each other, and for many different reasons, but especially to forgive each other and to forgive yourself. The other thing that is I'm just gonna end with this, that A Course in Miracles is also about past lives and breaking the death life cycle so you don't come back, right? So, in my opinion, and just not my opinion, but in people who study A Course in Miracles, scholars and stuff like that, and even I think it even says it in A Course in Miracles that A Course in Miracles is the fastest way to break the death life cycle, because honestly, you're not going to be able to experience the peace of God or be in heaven or get enlightenment if you are still carrying a lot of baggage with you. And that is the purpose of it's one of the purposes of the forgiveness process, is to release yourself from a lot of that emotional, physical baggage about whatever's going on with you. And of course, we have all lived many, many, maybe thousands or hundreds of, I would say thousands of lifetimes before. And we're here in this physical form to do this forgiveness process, to break that death life cycle. It's the fastest way to do that. And I think that's a real important reason to do the forgiveness process, is to break that death life cycle. And with that, I'm going to end, and I just want to say thank you very much. Peace.